Hey, welcome. Dr. Parks here, founder of Essential Vitality, integrating conventional thinking with natural wellness for over a decade. Today's video is part 3 of the most profound insight over my 15 years practicing emergency medicine: how stress and fear in modern times can actually make the body sick. Today, we're learning the spiral effects behind chronic fear and long-term stress that make people sick. If you think that this sounds interesting, then get ready. In the first 2 videos, we learned how the brain filters and judges information looking for that saber-toothed tiger, and how quickly the unconscious brain can signal powerful reactions in the body. If you haven't already checked out those first 2 videos, part 1, the intro, and part 2, the quick fear response, definitely check them out before coming right back here. Today, we're diving right in to chronic fear and how long-term stress shows up. These are the weights that our nervous system can have on our physical body. And once we learn how this works, then I can start to show you ways to put that weight down, feeling the healthier, energized, vital version of you that's been there all along. I believe that this is the most real version of all of us. Are you ready? So meet Joe. Not too long ago, a sweet, intelligent, 77-year-old man came to the ER. Joe isn't his real name, and I've seen more people like Joe than I can count, but he's this super caring, soft-spoken widower who lived alone. So one day, Joe came to the ER. For the past few weeks, he kept noticing his heart kept doing these extra beats. So we checked him in. His blood pressure was higher than normal, but otherwise his heart rate and his oxygen, they were great. So I walk in to see Joe. Hey, Mr. Joe, sir, I'm Dr. Parks. Tell me what's been going on that you decided to come see us today. Well, Doc, it's like my heart keeps getting these extra beats. Every once in a while, I just notice my heartbeat. It started a couple weeks ago, and well, it was just here and there, but it just seems like it's getting worse. So it's not so bad during the day, mostly, but it gets really bad at night. And I'm not sleeping very well. I've been pretty tired. Well, I've been pretty tired for a while now. I just got no energy. I had to go feed the chickens yesterday, and I don't have the strength that I used to, Doc. Maybe it's just old age, I don't know. Thought I better get it checked out. So does any of this sound familiar? So we did what we do in the ER. We ran a full and thorough panel of tests. We watched his heart rhythm for 3 hours. We made sure there wasn't any recent heart attack or major heart rhythm problems. We were checking for all the bad stuff. And when all the tests came back, everything came back normal. In my last 15 years working in the ER, this happens way more often than you might think. Abdominal pains, headaches, joint pains, back pains, tingling in an arm or a leg, a nagging cough that just doesn't seem to get better. All the fancy tests that I had dedicated my life to learning so I could use them to help others. Not all the time, but in the vast majority of these situations, these tests, they kept coming back normal. So what is really going on here? Oh, by the way, I asked Joe another couple questions that day, when I was letting him know his test results. I said, Joe, how much news have you been watching lately? Oh, I've been really good about that. I make sure I don't miss anything. I catch the morning news before reading the paper, then I read the paper, then I get these updates at noon. Oh, and then I make sure I don't miss the afternoon press conference. I probably watch about 8 to 10 hours most days. As I'm listening to this, my heart sank. See, this is a very real thing, and I see it all the time. If it's not TV, it might be excessive phones or tablets or computers or social media. I'm willing to bet you may have noticed something similar. The question is why? Thankfully, I've been taught so many new tools to help people like Joe. Simple, effective, totally inexpensive ways to just really help. So before we can help, let's review what was really happening within Joe. Maybe this has been happening to someone else that you might know. So I'll choose to start here, the external world. In this case, it's a screen. In Joe's case, let's say 2-3 weeks ago, he was reading or watching a headline on the news. Pick nearly any headline, as headlines are designed to grab our attention. That information is then coming in, and the brain is filtering that information. Is this an immediate threat or is it not? You know, like looking for the saber-toothed tiger. In this case, was there a saber-toothed tiger? No, but the creative, future-looking brain imagines how this information could become a threat in the future. So, do we activate the massive red alert signal like with that stick? No, we don't do that either. But it does send out a little more tension into the wiring, into the plumbing of our body. No big deal, right? Well, at this point, it's not. But under a minor perceived threat, the brain is more alert. I don't want to say paranoid, but so the brain wants to pay more attention to anything that's related to perceived threats. So in this case, there's a not so great loop. So when the body is feeling a little more stressed, or even just a little tired physically, this also prompts the filtering system in the brain to be on a higher alert. See how that works? And so at night, when Joe was trying to rest and relax, instead, Joe's fear and anxiety and his tiredness, this system is thinking. Have you ever had a thought, and the more you think it, the more you think that you can't stop thinking it? I know I have, more than I'd like to admit. You see, kids haven't learned how to do this yet. It's one of the reasons why little kids can be so flippin' lighthearted. They remind us of our true nature before we learn how to think so much into the future, and before somewhere along the way, most of us forgot how to just enjoy the present moment, right? Anyway, after many days of this cycle of reinforcement, poor sleep, higher blood pressure, poor eating, cravings for junk food, perhaps less physical movement and activities, and stacking 8 to 10 hours of intentional attention-grabbing headlines into the system, the perceived threat, physical response, threat of badness, physical response, bad response, bad response, bad response. Where's the recovery? Part of Joe's response was noticing those extra heartbeats. Until finally, it scared him so much that he finally decided to ask for help. Are you starting to see how fear, originally designed to keep us safe, can spiral? Most of the time, we aren't even realizing when our brain is doing this. I sure didn't. Until one day at age 33, I genuinely thought I was having a stroke. I was in the ER, and, well, the brain will rationalize ways to justify what it's thinking and doing. We've all experienced this in different ways. We've reacted to it in different ways. There's a neurochemical pattern for fear. There's also a neurochemical pattern that we call feeling anxious. And there's something similar going on with the pattern we call feeling depressed. So in Joe's case, once he was having those extra heartbeats, I love to think of it as his heart was knocking at the door of his conscious awareness, saying, "Hey, brain, I don't know what you're busy thinking up there, or if you forgot about me, the real me in here. I need a little more attention in here." Welcome to the tip of the iceberg, how fear and stress makes us sick. Now, I wish I had learned this in medical school, because when we even start to see this, when we start to see how stress and fear or feeling anxious or depressed are really just patterns in the body, and how they're affected by information we choose to expose ourselves to, and how these patterns are affected by our thoughts and how we focus our attention. Now we have an opening. We have an opening to make a meaningful change. We have room to ask the most important, powerful question of all. How can I help? How can I help someone else? How can I help someone who's suffering from these patterns? can I help me? I look forward to offering you a whole new world of incredible ways to help in the next video. Let me know what you found valuable, what parts you found interesting, and especially let me know how I can personally help you. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys at the top of the next video. Until then, decide to feel grateful, healthy, and vital. Stay well, my friends.